Hello, everyone. This week we're going to be talking a little bit about spatial reasoning and cross sections. So the first thing we're going to talk about is what three-dimensional figures we can form. The first one is a prism, and we name a prism if it's formed by two parallel congruent faces called the bases, and those connected faces that are parallelograms. So if I look at this first picture, I can see that these two parts that are shaded in are my parallel faces or my parallel bases. A cylinder is formed by those two parallel bases, but they are circular, and the covered surface that connects them are also curved. So here are my two bases, parallel, and they're curved around. The third one is a pyramid. A pyramid has some type of polygon as a base. It can be a triangle, it can be a quadrilateral. And then it has triangular faces that meet at a vertex up top. And a cone is a shape that has a circular base, and again, meets at a vertex up top, but this time it's connected by curved surfaces, curved sides. The pyramid and the cone are different because the pyramid is formed by polygon sides. The cone is formed by a curved sides. So just some naming of shapes. We name our shapes based on their shape of their bases. So a triangular prism is a prism that has a triangular base. A rectangular prism, again, has a rectangle base. Pentagonal prism has a pentagon on the bottom, and a hexagonal prism has a hexagon on the bottom. If it connects with a vertex at top, we call them pyramids. Again, we name them based on their bases. The base is a triangle, we call it a triangular pyramid. A rectangular pyramid, that's a pentagon, we call it a pentagonal pyramid. And then a hexagonal pyramid if I have a hexagon on the bottom. We use nets to kind of open up our shapes. When I open up these shapes, I end up with something that is formed using those bases and those sides. So if I look at this net of a rectangular prism, I can see that I have the two parallel bases here. These two sides are parallel, and these two sides are parallel. If I were to fold this up, I would get this rectangular prism shape. I can make nets of all types of solids. I can make the net of a pyramid with a square base and triangular sides that meet at the vertex. Your vertex would be where these 4 points would meet. A cylinder, I can do the same. It has circular bases, and even though the sides are curved, it still would form a rectangle. You take that rectangle and wrap it around. And the same thing with the cone. I have a circular base, and then if I would wrap that around, it would meet at the vertex right here. The second part of this lesson is looking at cross sections. So a cross section is the face formed when a three-dimensional object is sliced by a plane. So if I were to slice this cylinder with this plane, I would see that I would get this part that would cut. Same thing here. If I were to cut this plane this way, I would get this shape. And if I were to cut on a diagonal this way, I would end up with this shape. So cross sections are just those shapes that are formed when you cut your three-dimensional object. When I cut these objects with my planes, I can form different shapes. If I were to cut my cone right at the top, my cross section would just be a point. I don't have a full shape, I just have a point. If I were to cut this pyramid, this pentagonal pyramid, I would form a pentagon. I can cut this hexagonal pyramid and form a hexagon. Or I could cut the cone this way and make a triangle. So you can see I can cut these shapes in different ways to form different cross sections. Both the first and the last are both cones. But because of the different ways I cut them, I have formed two different types of cross sections. So if I look at this example, it says a piece of Swiss cheese is a prism with equilateral triangular bases. How can you slice the cheese to make each shape? Well, the first shape I want to form is a rectangle. And if I look here, I have my cheese and I cut it vertically. If I put a vertical prism in there, you can see that I have formed a rectangular cross section. If I want to form an equilateral triangle, I could cut this cheese horizontally, and you can see that this will form a triangle as my cross section. The best way to grasp this concept is to really just play around with it. So take a couple minutes and look at that try it section, and then come to your teacher with any questions you may have. I will see you next time.